Alrighty guys, I'm Morthadon and we are here for episode 51 of Boruto. So I'm doing this one a little bit different than usual. I'm going to be releasing 2 episodes this week, which I have done before, so that's not the abnormal part. But the abnormal part is usually when I do 2 episodes in a week, and I know I'm doing 2 episodes in a week, I record them together. So I record this episode, the second I'm done, I'd record the next one. But I'm going to be doing it a little bit different because when I do that, I tend to rush the discussion because I know I'm just getting into the next one, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able to discuss the episode for what it is before jumping into the next one, you know? So you guys will be getting both of these episodes on the same day, so it's not going to matter too much for you guys. But for me, I'm recording this episode on... It's Friday right now. Well, technically it's Saturday, but it's really late Friday night for me, because I haven't slept yet. Anyways, and then I will be recording episode 52 at my normal time, which is Wednesday night, to have it ready for Thursday. So, I am going to have a bit of a gap, even if there's a cliffhanger. I think I'm probably going to be doing it this way, because you guys had to wait a full week. I don't have to wait quite a full week, a little bit less than that. But when it was airing and everything, you know, you guys had to wait the whole week. So figure I'd get a little bit close to an experience that you guys had and be able to think about it a little bit. And that way, when I come back for episode 52 in the beginning, I can talk a little bit and, you know, if I have any theories or anything, depending. I don't even know if this is going to cliffhanger. All I know is 51 and 52 go good together. I should point that out. That's all I know. So I have no idea what's about to happen. It could just be 2 really good fillers. It's just like a 2-part filler that's just really good. We could be getting into tuning exams. We could be... I don't even know. I have no idea what this could be. So... all I know is they go good together, so I'm going to be releasing both of them this week for you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. But without further ado, I guess let's briefly talk about last episode. Last episode was the recap episode, which I did do a reaction for, and I did very much enjoy. It was a lot of fun. I'm really glad I did end up doing a reaction, because I think if I got partially through that episode and I saw how good it was, and I didn't do a reaction, I would have regretted it. So, very happy I did that. I think I mentioned that in my last video too. But I recommend, if any of you guys saw that it was a recap episode and you said, oh, screw that, and skipped it, I recommend going and watching the full episode at some point. But because it was, even though it was recap, there was some extra moments they added in there that were a lot of fun. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into this episode, shall we? Alrighty guys, so like usual, down in the description, there's going to be a Vimeo link. You're going to click that Vimeo link. Very easy, 1 click away will bring you right to the reaction. This is just because YouTube likes to take down videos, and this is just a safe way to always have the content available to you guys, alright? So, you click that link down there in the description, and then you come back here to YouTube afterwards, and you can see the discussion right after I'm done talking here. So go ahead and click that link right now, guys. Alrighty, guys, so that is the end of episode 51. That was a good episode, I enjoyed it. So, I could see some people being angry because it's kind of the same thing that's been going on with Boruto throughout, like, the whole series, is this attitude against the Hokage, and maybe if this was a standalone show and, like, didn't have a character that we saw, you know, a whole series on and loved, people would just be like, okay, this Hokage person's a bad person, but I can understand where people come from, where they say, like, where like, you know, I'm a big fan of Naruto, so this little bratty kid of his talking crap about him, you know, kinda, I get defensive. But at the same time, I do understand where Boruto comes from. Looking at it from his perspective, I can definitely see I can see and understand the frustration that he has, you know? Like, he kinda, he's a little bit of a hypocrite at times, but there's other times that I really agree with him, you know? So, for example, earlier in this episode, at one point he said, um, people keep, what was the exact wording? Shoot. He mentioned, like, people not, like, he wanted a big mission and a big win so people acknowledge him. But people already acknowledge him for his skill. They even said this episode, unless it's a translation issue, and that's not really how it came off, they said, oh look, it's Boruto, their team has a 100% success rate, it must be nice to be prodigies. I mean, unless that was supposed to be sarcasm, and they're like, oh yeah, you're a prodigy. Oh, like, I don't know. I don't know if that's how it was supposed to be interpreted, or if they were actually just, like, jealous that he's a prodigy, which means they're acknowledging that he is skilled and he's the Hokage's son. What he doesn't like is being compared to being the Hokage's son, but they still acknowledged him. There's like a difference there that maybe I'm not grasping. But that being said, uh to go onto Boruto's side, because I'm not just one-sided on this, like, I see both sides. There's just some aspects of Boruto's, like, anger that I don't understand, and then some that I do. Because regardless of the situation, if you're a kid, even when you're not a kid, even when you're an adult sometimes, and something is planned and set up that you look forward to, and something happens where it can't happen, so just because it happened in this episode, I'll use it as an example. You know, Boruto had this party, they talked about his dad being there, you know, even though he talked crap about his dad, you can definitely tell he was still hoping that his dad showed up, you know? And his dad didn't show up. And even though his dad could have the best reason in the world, and someone is still gonna feel a little upset, you know? It's like one of those things that you may feel guilty for feeling upset about it, because it's kind of like, it's like a selfish versus selfless nature kind of thing, where, you know, Boruto could have the ideology where, oh, my dad's a Hokage, it's okay, he has a lot of work to do, you know? And he's really busy. That's the selfless way, but the selfish way is like, and it's not even that selfish, really, but he's like, oh, I was hoping my dad would be here for my birthday, and he couldn't because of this Hokage work, and then he lashes out a little bit, you know? I completely understand his nature there. Like, I've had times where, you know, I'll have plans to do something with someone, and, no, okay, I just thought of a good example. So, whenever there's a family gathering on my mom's side of the family, I have a cousin that I really like to hang out with and talk with, and he's really, like, the only one that I have stuff in common with, like, you know, video games, shows, we like majority of the same stuff. So it's very easy to talk to him, you know? And I'm not the most social person when it comes to things that I'm not interested in. Like, I can't just go to a family gathering and be like, yeah, that football game was great the other day, right? Because I don't watch football, you know? Or, like, I don't really pay attention to politics, so I can't talk politics. So I really have nothing to say to other people when I have meetups like that, except for when that cousin's there. And there have been times where I'm told that he's gonna be there, and I'm like, sweet, that's gonna make this family gathering a lot more enjoyable than it would have been otherwise, you know? So, and then I get there and he's not there, and it could be for a very good reason. It could have been his kid is sick, you know, he has a kid, and, you know, she's in the hospital, and I would be like, damn, it stinks that he's not here, but I understand that he's, like, gonna do that, you know? And I still have that thought in my head, and it's a very selfish thought that I'm thinking, oh, well, it would have been nice if he could have been here to entertain me, you know? It's a very selfish thing. That's kind of like the thing that Boruto goes through, you know? And then on top of that, he sees Himawari, which I very much respect what he said this episode when he was talking to Naruto, saying things like, you know, he essentially said, I'm older, I can handle it, but Himawari is still young, so you have to be there for her, you know? He, it's almost like sometimes when he's talking to Himawari, it seems like he's trying to convince her to have the same outlook he has, but then there's other times it seems like he's protecting her from that, you know? Like, when he was talking to Himawari, he said, oh, we don't need that stupid old man, you know? And she could very easily adapt that personality if the show decided they wanted her to, just because Boruto is a big influence on her, and if Naruto isn't enough of an influence, then Boruto is going to be the one to rub off more than Naruto. But then there's other times where he still wants to protect her and wants her to be happy, you know? It's not that Naruto completely just wants her to be, like, destroyed and hate her dad, you know? So, you know, it's a very... It's a very complex thing, I think, and I understand the struggle. Now, we see the struggle a lot in the show, and I don't know how, like, I think it's gonna make it all the more satisfying when it is overcome, you know? And I'm not sure if this arc is gonna overcome it at all. Maybe it'll help a little bit. What I'm hoping happens is I'm really hoping that somehow Boruto realizes that this is the kind of thing that Naruto deals with as Hokage, maybe, and he understands a little more, and then Naruto manages to make it to Himawari's birthday in the end, because I imagine we're gonna see that. Like, they talked about it too much for us not to see it at, like, the end of 52, maybe, if that's the end of, like, this little arc. I have no idea. I just know that 52 goes well with 51, so I'm assuming it wraps this up. I don't know. But it might continue on a few episodes past that. Maybe it's just because of this little cliffhanger at the end, which actually isn't that bad, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I do think it's setting up for one or the other. Either Naruto's gonna make it and everything's gonna be happy, or Naruto's not gonna make it and it's gonna be very sad. And honestly, I might be a little emotional if that poor little Himawari does not see her dad on her birthday. I'm gonna be a little sad, because Boruto I can kind of handle when he's upset about that stuff, because he kind of handles it in a bratty way, and even though I understand it, I still just see, like, kind of a brat, you know? But Himawari just gets, like, very sad and a very upset face, and just, like, kids with sad faces, I can't. So, it's gonna be, I hope Naruto makes it. That's all I'm saying. But I guess to push this along to a different aspect of the episode, aside from, you know, the struggle between Boruto's emotions, the whole Kaguya thing, this is like another hideout. These, like, I did the theory I said, which I'm glad I said it during the episode, because it did give us the answer throughout the episode. And it probably wasn't too hard to put it together, but sometimes I'm a little slow with this stuff, guys. I'm sure you know by now that I don't always, you know, connect the story threads, because there's not always a connection with the story threads. But I managed to guess it this time, where the mines are connected to that hideout that Naruto mentioned, I'm assuming. I mean, that's still an assumption. We still don't know that it's, like, completely, you know, connected. I don't know. But I'm guessing that's how these things got there. And now there's these monstrous white Zetsus just lurking in these mines, killing people that enter. Fortunately, no kids have gone and, like, played in the mines and just died or something before these thieves. Like, you know, at least it was a bunch of thieves, a bunch of criminals, you know? No, I'm not saying they deserve to die for what they did, but, you know, I'd much prefer it than a kid loses his ball in there, goes in to get it, and just never comes out. Like, no, thank you, show, for not doing that. But these things are like I'm wondering if they were more experienced. Wow, that was a word that did not come out the way it was supposed to. If they were more experiments, because they mentioned Kaguya made the white, like they made a point to mention this episode. They made the white Zetsu army to as like a defense against a threat to her, and now these things show up, which are basically white Zetsus all mushed together, uh, with like blade arms and crap, and they don't seem to have the intelligence that the white Zetsu actually has. So maybe these were made before the white Zetsus were made, potentially, and they're just like failed experiments lurking in this cave, or it could be that they made the white Zetsus and they're like, is there a way to make these more threatening? And they like mushed them all together and got like this monstrous thing that had no mental capabilities, and they're like, no, this thing's just a nuisance. We need to like stop this project. I'm wondering, or are they just another defensive mechanism? Maybe there's a bunch of them and they decided that they're gonna, I mean, I guess they could have killed them if they thought of them as failed experiments, right? It's not that they were like good guys or anything. Like, not that these things have like very much self-awareness. So Kaguya could have put him down if she saw him as a failed experiment. So I don't know. I'm interested to find out. I wonder if like how much we're gonna learn about what these are. Like, are we just gonna see them as this monstrous thing? These kids are gonna defeat them. Maybe Naruto comes in and helps. Because he said he was heading to the hideout, right? So maybe they, like, somehow meet in the middle going through these tunnels. And then, they could just not touch on it at all. Maybe because the only way they'd really learn the purpose of these is if they found, like, documentation, Because obviously Kaguya isn't around to be like, oh yes, these were mine, I used them for this, and stuff like that. So really, anything they come up with is just hypothetical, or they might find some kind of documentation in, like, the front area of the hideout that Naruto is heading to that gives us a better understanding of what these are and what their purpose is, and, if they are just failed experiments, or if they are successes, if they do what Kaguya had hoped for. But it's very, very interesting to see White Zetsu making a return. It's very interesting having Boruto encounter this. I wonder how much he's gonna learn about it, because all this Kaguya business is supposed to be top secret. They even mentioned it this episode again. So I'm not sure if he's gonna be filled in. Like, are they actually gonna explain it to Boruto and the team of what's going on here? Or are they just gonna keep it a secret and just tell them, oh, those were weird monster things, huh? Like, glad we took care of that. And just pretend like it had nothing to do with, like, Kaguya and everything. I wonder how much of that event was, kept secret. Because they mentioned, like, these, Kaguya hideouts and Sasuke's mission investigating, like, the rifts and everything, or whatever it is, the different planes of existence and everything that he seems to be, like, looking into. All of that is top secret. But what about the events of the past? I know they consider Naruto like the hero of that war, but do they really know what the villain was? Do they really know that the war was against these white Zetsus and Kaguya and all of that? Are they aware of all of that, or did they kind of cover it up and just say, like, we had to face, like, a great evil and never really said exactly what it was? Maybe you guys can fill me in if I'm supposed to know that. That might be something that we heard about, like, earlier. or maybe there was like a news thing going on that I just didn't notice. But like, do they basically does what I'm wondering is if Boruto knows about Kaguya and the White Zetsus, which I guess you also don't have to tell. Well, I guess by the time you tell me, I'll have seen 52 anyway. By the time I'd see any of these comments, so I guess they might answer it in 52 because if they get better light and Boruto sees them as like the White Zetsus mushed together, he might know what they are, and that would answer my question. But he might have no idea what they are. But also, if he has no idea what they are, it might be because he doesn't recognize them as... Well, no, because Konohamaru here just recognizes them as White Zetsu. So Boruto should too. Some shows they do that where it's like clearly obvious to the audience what we're looking at, but then the characters in the show are just like, what is this? I have no idea what this thing could be, you know? So I don't know if it would have, but like with what Konohamaru said, I don't think that's the situation. So to me, that means Boruto should be able to notice it too if he's aware of their existence, you know? It's also possible because they didn't have as much media back then. There might not be any pictures or recordings or anything of these White Zetsus, so he might have heard White Zetsu, but he might not know what they look like, you know? So that might be a thing too, where that's the way he wouldn't recognize it. Now that I think about it, that might be the way they do it, but I guess we'll find out in next episode, and if not, you guys can let me know if, you know, these kids are aware of everything that happened in the past or not. Or if they kind of do like a kind of cover where they're like, there was a war against like a great foe, and they just keep it like very vague. But let's see. So I talked about, I guess I'll mention it because I kind of mentioned it during the episode. Boruto had a party and his friends showed up, and he went and sulked in his room. That's something that I never did. Like, if I had friends over for a party or for whatever reason, I always, you know, hung out with them regardless of how I felt until they left. And then if I wanted to pout, I could go pout after, you know? Even when I was a kid, I always had this, like... I was always, like, a very respectful kid, I should say. I was talking about this the other day, too. What was the whole conversation? I guess it had to do with, shoot. I just had it, I felt like. Oh, darn, now I'm not gonna remember. It had to do with something that I did as a kid that I felt I was always, like, more respectful to people, and maybe that's, like, me looking back, like, thinking I remember it that way. But I can't remember the exact story, but then I was comparing it to my nephew, who isn't always like that, you know? And I just found it, like, very interesting, even, like, as a kid, how much you can differ. Like, you think I'd have that, like, bratty personality, too, or whatever, but no, like, my nephew is, like, a big brat. He, like, freaks out in front of people, but I always, like, kept that stuff bottled up inside until later, I felt like. And, you know, there might be just some cases that I just don't remember doing it, you know? My memory isn't super amazing, so... Anyways, but yeah, I just found it interesting that he was moping in his room and Sarada had to, like, come in and try to cheer him up or whatever, and I don't know. I just found that interesting. That, like, whole bit was, like, pretty sad, though. That's what I wanted to talk about. I mentioned it during the episode. Holy crap, I almost forgot to. So, I feel like for a long time, ever since, I think it might have been when I watched the first Boruto movie, they always, and even, like, throughout this series, every now and then they show Naruto almost like lightheaded, it seems like, where he like almost looks like he's gonna faint. And I've had two theories where it seems they stress a lot that it's just overwork. But I'm worried that there's more going on with him. Like he's somehow sick, he has some kind of illness. Maybe he knows about it, maybe he doesn't. But and it's scary to say because I do not want it to happen, but it's a very real possibility that we could see Naruto die at some point through the Boruto series, and I don't want that to happen at all. Oh, that would suck so bad. But I don't want to just because I don't want it to happen so bad, I almost didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to like poof it into existence. But they very easily could do like a flashback montage of his like, you know, all these like little subtle weak scenes we see, and then see his like diagnosis and stuff, and you know, who knows, because you know he's been messed up. Like he lost his like whole arm or whatever, right, when he fought Sasuke, I believe it was, when he lost it, and that's why he always has it like wrapped up, because I'm pretty sure the arm that he has is like Zetsu stuff, and who knows like what that causes to your body. And then he's also the Jinchuriki. Who knows how long he's able to, you know, I don't know all the science behind keeping a Jinchuriki within you, but it might be something that lowers your life force and doesn't allow you to live long, you know? Because we've never seen an old Jinchuriki, have we? Like, we've seen somewhat adult-ish ones, like some of the ones we saw in Naruto, but I don't think we saw any that gave us any evidence that they got it when they were young and had it until they were old, you know? Uh, so it's a very real possibility that something like that could be the thing, like, Jinchurikis just don't have a long lifespan, and that's the reason, you know, Naruto passes at some point in Boruto, and that would kill me. I'd like, if that's something that happens, I'd almost feel like I'd need like a break just to like think things over from the show. But I probably wouldn't do that just because I do reactions. But if I didn't do reactions and that was like a thing that happened, oh man, I don't know. But yeah, that was one thing I just wanted to talk about, because I always see the lightheaded stuff, and I don't know if I talk about it, but it very easily could just be overwork, and that's their way of showing that Naruto is pushing himself, you know? Because if they didn't do something like that, you know, some people could interpret it that Naruto is just like a bad dad, and, you know, he's just not properly managing his time. But showing that he's like working so hard that he's almost passing out, could just be nothing. I could be looking way too into it, and it could just be a way, like I said, to show that he is pushing himself. So I'm gonna skip through the rest of this episode and see if there's anything else that I really wanted to talk about, but I think that covers like a majority of what happened this episode. Once again, I just got to like the whole scene with his dad, and I actually really like that scene. I think Boruto handled that well, and I think I really got to Naruto, so let's all pray that he gets to Himawari's birthday. Yeah, so I think that pretty much sums up everything that happened in this episode, and you know, some of the theories that I have and everything going forward. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, you can hit that subscribe button. Actually, you know what? No, never mind. I'm not gonna. I had like a little bit of a story, a personal story, has nothing to do with anime or my reactions or anything. Uh, but I've already been doing this long enough, this video's long enough, so yeah, I'm gonna cut it off here. I guess if you guys want to know that personal story, I can vent it to you guys in the comments, you can just let me know. Or if you don't care, that's fine too. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you do enjoy this content. I very much appreciate it if you do. And then you can check out the description for links to things such as my Patreon, where you can see the next, well, technically, you're going to see the next episode this week. So if you want to see episode 53 already, then you can check out my Patreon and you can gain access to early access as well as full length, where you can watch the full version instead of this cut up version that you saw. And then there's also links to my anime list and my Twitch streams in the description, guys. So check all that out if you're interested in more stuff from me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.